Life can throw you many curveballs, and it's often a good rule of thumb to have an emergency savings set aside for any unexpected expenses, such as car repairs or home repairs. And joining us now is Candace Towers, the Financial Wellbeing Program Manager with the Lake Trust Credit Union. She's here to tell us a little bit about why it's important to have an emergency savings. So, Candace, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so why is it necessary to have an emergency savings?
Well, emergency savings can really help when you get into a pinch, when the unexpected happens, right? So it's not if it happens, it's when it happens. And just being able to have that little safety net can really give you a peace of mind.
Yeah, so for some people, they may think it's difficult to start an emergency fund. What is the best course of action to do that?
The best course of action, I would suggest just looking at your budget and seeing where you can start allocating just a little bit of funds. You can start small, make a small savings goal and just start chipping away at it. The 50-30-20 is a good method to use, where 50% is for your needs, 30s for your wants, and 20% goes towards savings.
Yeah, and what is like the percentage, or what are the statistics that you found about people not being prepared for those emergency situations?
So honestly, there's a large percentage of consumers right now that do not have an emergency savings at all. I'd say maybe 40% of Americans right now have some sort of emergency savings. And most don't even have $500 set aside for those emergencies.
Yeah, are there any special places people should be keeping their emergency fund?
Yeah, so you can any savings account, just something a little separate, but you want it to be accessible. So here at Lake Trust, we have something that's called like the Aspire Savings Account that pays a little bit higher dividends. So you're stashing away some money and you're able to get a little bit of interest. It's easy to withdraw if those emergencies do come up.
Yeah, and what kind of message do you have to kind of help people get into the mind frame to, as you said, get prepared for those emergency situations for when they happen, not if?
Really just taking the time. It's never too late to start saving, and you can start little. And when you set those goals in mind, just make sure that you celebrate those milestones and the successes that you do have. And then when something does come up, you can be proud that, hey, I do have this money set aside, so it doesn't impact my day-to-day finances or my monthly finances.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but also tell the people, how much they should have in their emergency savings.
So you can start small. $500, $1,000, but a rule of thumb is to have about 3 to 6 months of your income set aside for those emergencies.
Well, Candace, thank you so much. That was such a great information. It's always a good reminder to get people remembering that there is a need to have that emergency savings for those unexpected situations. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.